John Stockton has spent his entire career waiting for this chance. Over the past 2 weeks, he has seized the moment like few others in NBA history. It was Stockton's shot that secured Utah's first ever trip to the finals, ending 17 years of frustration. But the euphoria over securing such an elusive goal was quickly dispelled in Chicago, where Michael Jordan's Bulls took a 2-game series lead, as destiny seemed to dictate that a 5th title would soon be theirs. Then last Sunday night, with Jordan on the brink of giving Chicago a nearly insurmountable 3-1 advantage in the finals, Stockton stepped into Utah's huddle and declared that there must be a way to win the game. Stockton simply took over the game's final 2.5 minutes. His enormous 3 wrested momentum away from the Bulls, cutting their lead to 2. In rapid succession, Stockton stole the ball from the game's greatest player. And then, with Utah down by a point, Stockton rebounded Jordan's miss and found Karl Malone with a pass that will never be forgotten. To be sure, there were other heroes on a night when Utah drew even in the finals, but on this one Sunday in June, John Stockton refused to let his team lose, and in the process made it clear that the Jazz are a genuine threat to Chicago's 5th title plans. The finals are tied. Game 5 is next.
This is the NBA on NBC. The 1997 NBA Finals. Tonight, it's Game 5. The Chicago Bulls versus the Utah Jazz.
They call it the Decibel Center, and Utah Jazz fans once again looking to emotionally lift their team. It is bedlam at the Delta Center, Salt Lake City, Utah. We get ready for Game 5 of this best-of-7 NBA Final Series. And we welcome you. Hi, everybody. I'm Marv Albin, along with Matt Guokas and Bill Walton. Now, the big story here tonight, the story concerning Michael Jordan's physical conditions. This Jordan arriving about 2 hours ago. He is suffering from flu-like symptoms. Made his way onto the court just moments ago, and as you see right here, looking a bit shaky. He was up all last night, spent all day in bed, did not eat at all, did not go to the shoot-around earlier today, did not practice, so his status is uncertain. Ahmad Rashad and Jim Gray will have more on this as the game progresses. Matt, this on top of the Bulls coming off the extremely disappointing loss the other night. A game they led by 5 with about 2.5 minutes to go. Coming off that kind of defeat, what is Chicago's approach tonight?
Well, Chicago can't worry about the missed opportunity to win Game 4, but they can learn from it, especially ways to get Michael Jordan better shots if he can be effective. The Bulls need more of Michael in the post, even if he has to back it in. He can get his own shot against anybody or find one for a teammate. And more of this, set that pick for Jordan. It creates driving space. Utah has trouble defending pick and roll just like everybody else. And get him on the move where he has a chance to get fouled. No free throw attempts in Game 4 for Jordan. And all the Bulls are taking and missing too many jump shots. Not enough offensive rebounding. Just under 10 a game as Dennis Rodman continues to flounder. Now for Chicago to pull off a win here tonight in Utah. Not only does Michael Jordan have to be special while he's not feeling very well, but the rest of the Bulls will have to elevate their game as well.
As for the Utah Jazz, who have been on fire the last 2 games, they've certainly turned things around. Bill, you look back over the course of the illustrious career of John Stockton. There have been many magnificent games, but Sunday night here in Game 4 was a defining moment for John Stockton.
Marv, it all crystallized for John as he emphatically reminded us that more than anything else, it's a mental game. But John Stockton has not been alone as the entire Jazz team has responded since they returned here to Utah. Now, the offense has found itself. They're getting to the line and making them. They're passing the ball. They're pounding the glass. But in the end, for Utah, their championship dream always comes down to Karl Malone. After a very passive start, he's returned to the physical game. He needs to realize just how much better he is than every single member of this Bull front line. And when they get in his way, hey, knock him down, and if necessary, step on their face. Now, while everybody else has been throwing the petals, the rose petals at the feet of Michael Jordan, the view from here is, this is Karl Malone's night. He has to show the world just how great a player he is. Marv, the Jazz, they have to win tonight if their dream is going to come true.
All right, so it is all coming up. Game 5 of this best-of-7 NBA Finals Series. When we come back in a moment, Hannah Storm and the Showtime crew, followed by the introduction of the starting lineups. Another beautiful 75-degree day here in the Salt Lake City area. The fans both outside and inside of the arena fired up by their Utah Jazz. Much conversation concerning the noise level, the decibel level count here at the Delta Center, one of the loudest arenas in all of sports. Just to give you an idea, when the Bulls and the Jazz are introduced, check out the decibel meter on the left corner of your screen. There you see a 20 would be a whisper, ordinary conversation. About a 60, a rock concert in terms of decibel level count 120, jet takeoff 130. Well, keep an eye right there on these numbers as the introductions come forth. And for the introductions, the public address voice of the Utah Jazz, Dan Roberts.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Delta Center. This is the NBA Finals game number 5. Introducing the starting lineup for the Chicago Bulls. Starting at forward, wearing number 33 at 6'7" from Central Arkansas, Scottie Pippen. Starting at forward, wearing number 91 at 6'6" from Southeast Oklahoma State, Dennis Rodman. The starting center wearing number 13 at 7'2" from New Mexico, Luke Longley. On the guard line wearing number 9 at 6'6" from Miami of Ohio, Ron Harper. And at guard wearing number 23 at 6'6" from North Carolina, Michael Jordan. The Bulls are coached by Phil Jackson. From Long Beach State, Brian Russell. The starting center wearing double O at 7'2" from Kansas, Greg Ostertag. On the guard line wearing number 12 at 6'1" from Gonzaga, John Stockton. And at guard wearing number 14 at 6'4" from Iowa State, Jeff Hornacek. The Jazz are coached by Jerry Sloan.
Well, the decibel level, as you saw, went off the charts At 110 at one point when the Jazz were introduced. And still more to come in terms of the introductions.
Is proud to present Game 5, the 1997 Final Series for the undisputed championship of the world. Are you ready? Utah Jazz fans, are you ready? For the 19,100 fans in attendance and the 600 million watching around the world, ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to rumble!
Michael Buffer adding to that decibel level count. Noted ring announcer Michael Buffer adding to that decibel level count as we get set for Game 5 between the Chicago Bulls and the Utah Jazz. And for more on these two clubs, let's check in with the Dean, Ahmad Rashad.
All right, thanks, Marv. At 3:30 this morning, Michael Jordan woke up with flu-like symptoms. He had a stomach ache and a headache, and he couldn't go back to sleep. He threw up all night, and as reported earlier, he missed the shoot-around, but he was in bed all day and continued to throw up. As a matter of fact, he got in here early. When I went to talk to him back in the back room, he was in a dark room trying to get some rest, but still throwing up. And Marv, I talked to him, I said, how do you feel? He said, I really feel horrible. But his history in games where he's either been hurt or sick has been bad news for the opponent. And as you can see, he's ready to go tonight. Marv?
All right, thanks, Ahmad. And the Utah Jazz control the tip. Bill Oakes, Hugh Evans, Dan Crawford are the officials. The question is, how long can Jordan go, and how will Phil Jackson spot him during the course of the game? Nice pass from the line. With the first bucket of the game.
Marv, the key for Utah tonight is offense. The defense will be there. They got to get well over 100 points.
And a foul is called as Pippen made his move. He took the hit from Jeff Hornacek. The Chicago Bulls have not lost 3 straight games since the start of the 1990-91 season. The Bulls have not dropped 3 straight since January of '95, 2 months before Jordan returned to basketball. They have not dropped 3 in a row with Jordan since early in '90-91. And Hornacek with a quick second foul.
And the Bulls going to a strategy which was very unsuccessful in Game 4, and that was posting up Scottie Pippen. The Bulls got very little out of that. It started the game with that, and here comes Shandon Anderson.
Well, Shandon Anderson replacing Jeff Hornacek. Shandon with a very nice reception. He'd missed games 3 and 4, remaining with his family in Atlanta following the death of his father. His dad died last week after a long battle with throat cancer. Bill Oakes calling a 3-second violation.
And once again, trying to go inside to Scottie Pippen. In Game 4, they went 16 times on post-up for Scottie Pippen and only came away with 5 scores. Not a good percentage.
But you can't force that. Utah's going to sag in and clog it up. You got to take what's there. Try Jordan early. Get him interested.
Stockton taking Hopper into the corner. Malone played by Rodman at the start. Fired up a 3 for the air ball.
Too far out of his range there. I just don't think Carl had any idea what the shot clock was.
And Jordan trying to slip it and then took it back and hit. So Michael Jordan, despite visibly shaken by the flu symptoms, connecting from the corner to tie the game at 2.
You can see the look on his face and in his eyes. He is nowhere near himself, but still can be a very effective player.
No fadeaways there for Karl Malone. As far as Michael Jordan, they should set some hard picks on him.
Scotty Pippen, such an important play here tonight with Jordan struggling physically. The officials check it out with each other, and Dan Crawford, the outside referee, said last touch by Chicago.
I think in Hugh Evans you have the top referee, the one referee that every single player would like to see here each game in the finals.
Shandon Anderson, good-looking rookie from the University of Georgia, being guarded by Michael Jordan.
Ron Harper's defense on John Stockton will be critical for the Bulls.
Ostertag had it knocked away. Jordan to the crossover and lost it. Good play by Longley to break up that lead pass attempt. Stockton over. Yes. Utah 4, Chicago 2.
Why would you ever run away from a man with the ball in scoring position, and particularly John Stockton, who is certainly in the zone?
Well, Chicago's transition defense way out of whack there. The Utah Jazz have gotten so few running opportunities.
Look at Stockton again. So quick to the ball, anticipation.
And here comes Russell, and on a switch by Harper.
Get to the hoop here if you're Karl Malone.
Puts the ball on Rodman. And rebounded by Rodman.
A little different attack that time by Rodman. He kept his feet in game 4. He was flopping on that play.
Pippen able to get that dribble alive once again. And they lost it. He thought he was fouled. There's Malone with Rodman back.
Numbers defensively for Chicago. Utah needs to play smart here. They're a little overexcited.
Russell for three. And Rodman rebounds and pops it down to Pippen. And as Rodman has been hearing it from the crowd reacting to those disparaging remarks concerning Mormons that Rodman made. And his teammates also not happy with the 2 trips that he took to Las Vegas in these 2 off days in between games 4 and 5.
On that last play, Karl Malone had excellent position on Rodman with him on his back. Just didn't make sure to catch the ball. But at the other end for Chicago, and we see Phil Jackson yelling, people are driving to the basket, trying to draw contact and getting some contact, but not getting to the foul line in game 4. Chicago only 5 for 12 from the line.
You can see the crowd reacting. They wanted a technical foul called on Phil Jackson, who was all over the official, Dan Crawford. Jordan way off. Ostertag able to reach for him. And a foul. Well, apparently, ball was deflected out of bounds by Chicago. Will be Utah ball.
Well, we see the problems the Chicago Bulls are having offensively. Not enough running opportunities and poor execution in the half court. The result of all those numbers.
Or back to the Phil Jackson altercation with the referee. These referees are going to be extremely patient tonight. Nobody has gone over the edge at all in this series. Veteran players, veteran coaches. These refs are going to let the guys on the court decide it.
Harper was called for that foul. Here's Malone. Yes, it counts.
Again, it all comes from the pass by John Stockton. Malone works so well. Rodman picks up his first foul of the night. But no pressure. You see Harper's arms way down, and when you got that kind of position, there is absolutely nothing Dennis Rodman or anybody else can do against Karl Malone.
But Bill, the careless foul. Clearly Rodman was beaten on the good pass and position from Malone. You might as well just let him go at that point, but just a little nudge in the back certainly wasn't going to affect the shot of Karl Malone.
So now you're going to start saying that Dennis is a disciplined player?
I didn't say that.
Well, you said it was careless. That's
Matt, be very careful of the clever question. Brian Williams has checked in, replacing Luke Longley. It's Utah 7 and Chicago 2.
Marv, Utah's got the quick start that they needed to keep the crowd into it.
And Michael Jordan able to line drive it home for his second field goal. Jazz up by 3. 5 minutes gone by. Ron Harper playing with that bruised shoulder. Heard him 2 games ago. He's been very quiet offensively, but that time called for the block. And that's a quick 2 on Harper. And a quick timeout being called. Chicago will talk it over.
Michael Jordan coming into this game 5 clearly under the weather, but still out there giving an effort, getting high in the air as he goes to the baseline for the jumper. Then comes up short on this as the leg showing a little effect. Never got a good look at the basket there. And this time coming off under control, getting high in the air once again as Michael trying to find his offense.
But Michael's the only guy doing anything. He's got their only points in the game. Everybody else standing around. Somebody's got to get aggressive. This is an ugly offensive start for Chicago.
But I think they've got to like this tempo. Just as the other game was 78-73 in game 4, Chicago wants to keep it in the 70s or low 80s.
Stockton got the step. Stockton coming off the brilliant finish on Sunday extends to a 9-4 Utah lead.
Smart play by John Stockton going at Harper with 2 fouls, and he let him go.
Jordan being played by Russell. Harper for 3. Yes. Ron Harper from downtown. It's the Jazz 9 and the Bulls 7.
The Bulls let Stockton get so deep before they really put any sort of body contact on him. Shannon Anderson can't find the range. He's going to have a big offensive game. Anderson and Russell are going to have to drill from outside.
Ryan Williams handling for the first time. Ryan Williams keeping it alive, and he drew the foul.
John Stockton, a big role for Ron Harper is trying to keep him pinned to the sideline and force him to the baseline. He does neither there, as when Harper straightened up, Stockton took advantage of the opportunity to go to the basket.
And if you look at John Stockton, the first 2 games of this series at Chicago, they lost them both. Really wasn't getting it done. But since they've got home to the friendly confines here in Salt Lake City, it's been all John Stockton.
Foul called on Shannon Anderson, putting Brian Williams at the line. Brian Williams has been a major contributor during the course of the playoffs. Now this the normal Jerry Sloan substitution. John Stockton gets the rest just past the midway point of the first quarter. And the 3-year guard from Boston College, Howard Eisley, checks in.
On the last 2 plays, I saw something that I haven't seen very much of throughout this series. Dennis Rodman actually jumped for a rebound, wasn't in traffic at the defensive end, and then at the offensive end, he kept one alive for Brian Williams. That is a good sign for Chicago.
Well, the Jazz up 9-8. Eisley handling against Steve Kerr, who just checked in. Steve Kerr had a long night, actually chasing around John Stockton in his 25 minutes in game number 4.
He's had a long series, Mark. Kerr, an excellent player, just no contributions.
It's kick ball, and a new 24 will be called. Kerr said after the game Sunday he was so exhausted he could barely see straight. He had spent so much time chasing Stockton around. He said it's not so much his sheer strength as it is the conditioning on the part of John Stockton.
And you should see Stockton work out in the weight room. Now, he's certainly not in Karl Malone's class, but...
Ball knocked away by Malone, but able to recover. And there is the first bucket for Shannon Anderson. The Jazz up by 3.
The initial offense for Utah has been a little shaky, but the scramble plays have worked for them. They've got to tighten it up at the beginning.
Pippen trying to protect it. Ostertag with a good play. And here comes Eisley. Eisley for Malone. Utah by 5.
That's the fast break that they need. Keyed by the defense. Ostertag, the outlet. Lots of guys running. Scotty trying to force here. Draws the foul.
Foul committed by Anderson off that fake.
Ostertag fading away, reaches in with those extremely long arms, gathers the ball up, and then finds Isley, who bobbles it himself. But you got 4 on 2, the spacing, the timing, runners behind the ball, perfect execution, Utah fast break.
Well, that was an opportunity for Dennis Rodman to take a hard foul and make Karl Malone earn them from the line. But at the other end, Chicago's offensive end, we see that effort to force things, trying to go to the basket, trying to draw fouls, not getting whistles at this point.
And Chris Morris has come on for Shandon Anderson. Here's Jordan. He's been off.
That's a force, Marv. 2 guys on you, fading to your left.
Chris Morris just hit the deck, fell down at midcourt. Matchup is Pippen and Morris. Isley, nice move off the dribble to beat Kerr.
The set offense, everything clicking right now for Utah.
Here's Pippen for 3.
And the rebounds.
Now, Phil Jackson wanted a timeout. He was very unhappy with the defense at the other end, and Scottie Pippen never saw the timeout signal.
They're on their feet here at the Delta Center. Shot clock at 4. Morris. Chicago needs a timeout. 3:25 remaining in the first.
Possession by the Chicago Bulls in the midst of a Jazz run. Phil Jackson wanted a timeout. Michael Jordan was trying to call the timeout, but because of the noise and the confusion, not getting it, and Michael relaxing on defense, backing off the dangerous Chris Morris from the perimeter. And Phil Jackson not happy at all. He wanted that timeout.
9-0 run by Utah. Antoine Carr, on the other hand, extremely happy as his Jazz have hit 6 of their last 7 from the field. Let's check in with Jim Gray. Jim?
All right, during that last timeout, I asked the Jazz coaching staff if they have any plays designed to go after Michael Jordan because he's ill. I was told by the coaching staff that Jerry Sloan doesn't know that he's ill and doesn't want to know that he's ill, and he doesn't want his players to know. He wants them to play as though he's full 100% strength. Marv?
All right, thanks, Jim. From the coaching point of view, Matt, obviously that does make sense.
Well, you know, again, you don't want to. You always want to make Michael Jordan work defensively, but you don't want to take your team out of what they normally do.
Foul committed by Pippen. That is his first. We have 3 minutes to go in this first quarter, and the Jazz up by the count of 18-8. A reminder, after the game, we hope you tune into the live post-game interviews and broadcast straight from the Delta Center on NBA.com. That's the official website of the NBA.
Karl Malone at the line here for 2. Never foul a jump shooter, but Scottie Pippen is really struggling. He picked up his first foul on Karl's shot attempt. Karl Malone's free throws getting much better after the disappointment in game 1. More attempts, and certainly the great percentage and the 2 clinchers in game 4. Scottie Pippen 0 for 3 tonight. That's 2 straight bad first quarters for Scottie.
Malone, as you saw, 5 of 6 in game 4, including the 2 clutch free throws right at the end of the game.
The look on Michael Jordan's face. He is so frustrated. He cannot give up offensive rebounds on missed free throws.
And for Jordan, that is his first foul.
And the man he is frustrated with is Brian Williams for not blocking out Greg Ostertag, as the Chicago Bulls making mistake after mistake now at both ends of the floor.
Matt, I know you were always shooting the free throws, but as a rebounder, you step up the lane toward the line, not to the basket. You come back to the basket after the miss.
I used to just try to grab onto their shorts and hold them.
Yes. Malone able to keep it alive. It's a 10-0 run by Utah. They lead 19-8. And they're doing it with John Stockton on the bench, getting a rest with Howard Isley on the floor. Here's Isley.
Look at Ostertag go to work.
And And it leads to the foul call.
Well, this is just not a strong frontline duo for Chicago right now. Brian Williams has not been rebounding. He was involved in the defensive play, and Tony Kukoc has his problems defensively all the time. He's clearly wiped out of there by Greg Ostertag.
And Kukoc, who just came on, called for the foul, his first.
Matt, you mentioned not a strong front line for Chicago. I think that's what Karl Malone has failed to realize. Ostertag, a fine free throw shooter. Ostertag with the chest bump. But there's no Maurice Lucas on this front line. There's no Kevin McHale or Elvin Hayes that can slow down Karl Malone. He should just be killing these guys. There's Brian Williams and guys who can't guard anybody like Tony Kukoc.
Utah now up 21-8. Pass by Kukoc, retrieved by Pippen. Here's Kerr for three. Pippen with the rebound. And the foul is called. Foul on Ostertag, that is his first.
And a sarcastic clap of the hands by Scottie Pippen, who has been begging for calls this whole first quarter, coming out with the mindset to take the ball to the basket, not getting the whistles this time, the little reach-in foul, and the sarcastic applause.
So it's now 21-9 Jazz. A reminder, tomorrow, 3 o'clock Eastern, 12-9 Pacific. NBC Sports proud to present the 97th U.S. Open, the first of 4 days of live network coverage. That'll be direct from the Congressional Country Club. First round coverage beginning tomorrow, 3 o'clock in the East, 12 noon Pacific, right here on NBC.
Marv Ostertag's having his first real positive contribution of the series. Karl continues to favor the outside shot as Kukoc has no clue what's going on.
Here's Morris. Well, Chris Morris has also been a contributor in this series. Chris Morris has had his ups and downs as a member of the New Jersey Nets and with head coach Jerry Sloan.
Well, you're right, Bill. You should never take your eye off the ball in that situation. But since he is not looking, Steve Kerr should never throw that pass. So it's both players at fault there. But a nice conversion by Chris Morris, able to adjust in the air, use the glass.
A 14-1 run by the Jazz. Brian Williams. Nice move by Williams. Crowd wanted to travel. Utah 23 and Chicago 11. The Utah Jazz looking to go up 3 games to 2 with game number 6 coming up in Chicago on Friday night. Here's Morris for 3. And the rebound comes to Kukoc.
Utah should post up Ostertag. Kukoc cannot stop him down low, and Ostertag's having a fine game.
Good head fake. Brian Williams hit from behind by Ostertag. So that's 2 on Greg Ostertag.
Brian Williams down on the post, making a strong move to his offhand, the right hand, and using the glass nicely.
And then Ostertag just falls asleep. Brian Williams waited, and then when he sensed that Ostertag had already snored twice, he said, hey, drop step to the baseline.
And for Greg Ostertag, easily his best start in this NBA Finals series. Just sat down after picking up a second foul, but 5 points and 5 rebounds for Ostertag, replaced by Greg Foster, one of the heroes in Game 3 last Friday night.
Marv, Chicago has 11 points. Right? You know, we talked about them coming out with fire. We just haven't seen it. Jordan hit a couple early. Nothing since. It's been forced play. Utah's defense, very sharp.
Well, I said they wanted to keep the score down, but they wanted Utah to be a lot closer to them. You mentioned they should post Ostertag. They should also post Karl Malone. They've been almost going exclusively to the pick and roll, but they got mismatches galore inside.
Jud Buechler on the floor for the first time, and he's defending on Morris. Here's Malone. Yes. Karl Malone with 7, and the Jazz 25. The Bulls 12.
Okay, kind of defense is that? You double team and then both guys back off Scotty. Emphatic dunk.
And the foul. Scottie Pippen with the head fake and then drew the foul. It's on Malone.
Well, Scottie Pippen has been trying to get to that basket ever since the game started. Finally able to clear himself free of Chris Morris and then going up big time and challenging Karl Malone with a strong finish.
And he says that the injured left foot is feeling better. Still cannot penetrate the way he would like because he has problems planting the foot and then cutting to the basket. But he's begun to find the rhythm.
Matt, do you think Scotty lights up when he sees Chris Morris guarding him?
Foster block and foul. Well, Pippen got a piece of the ball and the hand.
Well, I see a little different Scottie Pippen just in the last minute or so since Michael Jordan has gone to the bench for a rest. Now it looks like he wants to take it on his shoulders at the offensive end, and they're making a good hustle play at the defensive end. And with Michael under the weather, not effective, Scotty is really going to have to lift it very high.
And for those who may have just tuned in, as we reported at the start, Michael Jordan suffering from flu symptoms, did not go to the shoot-around, sat out practice, up all last night, spent all day in bed, did not eat at all. And you can just see the look as he stepped onto the floor with the rest of his teammates as the Chicago Bulls took the floor some 10 minutes before 7 o'clock here in Salt Lake City.
But one thing that's held true in this series, Mark, for the Bulls, Scotty and Michael have not played well at the same time throughout the series.
Bushler had it knocked away. Kukoc on the recovery and a foul. It's John Foster.
Good call. There was a big scramble for the wild ball. Foster came and bumped through everybody, put bodies on the floor.
The Jazz over the foul limit. And Brian Williams back to the line. So here are the Chicago Bulls who spent very little time at the line the other night. In fact, they were 5 for 12, the 5 free throws, the second fewest in NBA Finals history.
One of the most important things in playoff basketball, any basketball, is hustle after loose balls. Greg Foster grabbing on to the jersey of Brian Williams there, as in the early part of this first quarter, it was Utah out hustling the Bulls for loose balls. In the last couple of minutes, it's been Chicago.
And the Bulls are now 5 of 9 at the line. 20 seconds left in this first quarter. Some pressure being shown by Chicago, which has been a rare sight in this series.
Well, they usually bring it after made free throws. They haven't gone to the line.
And we're down to 5 seconds in the quarter. Isley from Malone. 1 and 6/10 seconds remaining in the quarter. Now Pippen fires. Start for the Utah Jazz. It's the Jazz 29 and the Bulls 16. One quarter complete. Here in Salt Lake City, you are watching the NBA on NBC. To the second quarter, Marv Albert, Matt Guokas, Bill Walton, a look at 4 future Hall of Famers and the rundown thus far tonight. Karl Malone with a strong start. He's hit 4 of his first 8 for 9 points.
Karl Malone dominating the action early on the perimeter and in the paint, delivering against Dennis Rodman's porous defense, running the floor, his specialty. The jumper, something he's added this year in the last play to close the quarter. We talked about running them over and stepping on them. That's what Karl Malone has done in the first quarter. You love to see all those shot charts in the paint there. Forget the perimeter stuff, particularly that three-point one.
Utah 11 of 19 from the field in a red-hot opening quarter. Chicago just 5 for 15. Michael Jordan is back, putting the move on Chris Morris. So Jordan has 6 points, 3 of 6 from the field. A first quarter that saw at one stretch Utah go on a 14-1 run. John Stockton is back, as is Jeff Hornacek. Malone up front with Foster and Morris. The basket will count, and the foul.
Well, Michael Jordan coming out, resting the last couple of minutes of that first quarter, just a little right to left move to easily shake Chris Mars.
But then Karl Malone comes right back. Stockton gets tied up with Kerr right there. They call the foul there on Steve Kerr. Steve Kerr very frustrated. John Stockton has a way of getting underneath their skin.
And Phil Jackson was saying yesterday that he was very upset with Steve Kerr for being manhandled by John Stockton in Game 4. He wanted Steve Kerr to be more physical and challenge John Stockton, but you just can't grab him around the neck.
Yes. Good point.
Thank you.
And a three-point play. The basket by Malone was good. The foul away from the ball. The free throw converted by Stockton. 32-18, Utah. The matchup is Foster defending on Kukoc. Here's Kerr. And a loose ball foul against the Bulls. It's on Bushler.
And now, Marv, for the first time, Karl Malone has gone to the bench, and Utah's got to find some offense. Antoine Carr had some good moments, needs one right here.
Antoine Carr putting the spin on Luke Longley. Well,
A fair of soup.
now Kukoc posting up. Jordan off the fake. Would have. He'll go to the line for two. So Michael Jordan, who did not go to the line incredibly at all the other night, will go to the free throw line right here. Here's Antoine Carr getting right to it.
Well, that high post offense for both Karl and Antoine Carr is wide open because the big guys for Chicago cannot guard on the perimeter.
So Michael Jordan, who in a rare occasion did not go to the free throw line at all the other night, only the second time in his postseason career that he went an entire game without a free throw.
Well, the Chicago Bull offense, the triangle offense, is built on a lot of jump shots. And the Bulls have not been running a lot of pick and rolls, have not been getting driving opportunities for Jordan.
Oh, pretty pass to set it up for Carr.
That's the beauty of John Stockton, Marv. He plays 100% to make the other guys a star and only shoots when it's a desperate situation facing a loss.
Jordan. Bushler trying to keep it alive. Chris Mars done a nice job. And here's Stockton checking the floor. And then putting the move on Kerr. Carr.
Every Jordan shot attempt has been off the dribble going to his left. Except that one.
Tried to fade away. Foster with the rebound.
Well, the Chicago Bulls are going to so much one-on-one play. In fact, in the game, they only have 2 assists, so they're not running their offense. Passing has not been crisp. Just too many one-on-one shots.
Hornacek with the offensive board, and they get the new 24.
Matt, you talked about the one-on-one. The team game for Utah has been far superior since this series shifted to Salt Lake City. Terrible pass.
Well, John Stockton with a rare mistake. Michael Jordan draws the foul. Jordan went to the left hand on the drive, and he's headed back to the line. But first, a timeout called by the Jazz. Well, look at the snow-capped, majestic mountains here in Salt Lake City and our terrific views of Salt Lake City and the spectacular mountains here in Utah coming from the Miller Eagles.
John Stockton, one of the best pick-and-roll players in the history of basketball, and this play has been very good to the Jazz in the first half of the last 2 games. That's an outstanding conversion. Second half, a little better defense. Here's Antoine Carr setting that pick for John Stockton, and then the roll to the basket, and poor rotation by Tony Kukoc enables Antoine Carr to get the nice little bounce pass up in the air before defense can react.
Michael Jordan looking exhausted here in the second quarter, playing with flu-like symptoms. Also looked exhausted in the fourth quarter the other night, although he was able to pick things up.
And that pick and roll has been very good to Utah, almost so much that they forgot to go to inside game because they're getting so many good scores out of any pick and roll with John Stockton or Howard Isley on the left side of the floor.
Michael Jordan has had to carry so much of the load as Hornacek back-to-back horrible turnovers for Utah.
And Jordan puts moves on Hornacek. So the Jazz now leading 36-24, and despite the physical conditions, the tough time that Michael Jordan has had because of the flu, he does have 12 points.
Tony Kukoc just ran over from the weak side just to get the ball out of Stockton's hands. You can see Utah scrambling now.
Nice fake. And Hornacek puts it away. That's his first field goal. The Jazz up 38-24. Kukoc for three. And this the best spurt of the night by the Bulls. And it's a kick ball, so they get the new 24.
And Marv, it starts with their defense for Chicago. Hornacek just throws one away. Harper gets it, and then this is a helpless situation. Jordan is going to score on any three guys guarding him there.
Bulls in the second quarter have outscored the Jazz 11-9, and Jordan has 8 of those 11 points. Hornacek off the fake. And Pippen able to glide in for the rebound. Jordan finding Longley, and the Jazz now leading by just 9.
That's Chicago Bull basketball. When they get a rebound or get a steal, get out and run and attack the basket. You saw Jordan put all kinds of pressure on John Stockton.
And Jerry Sloan coming right back with Karl Malone. He's seen enough of this offensive futility.
Stockton trying to force it, looking to get a foul call. Kukoc. Jordan shoveled to Harper, over to Pippen, and Scottie Pippen won glass. The 16-point lead has been cut to 7. And Jerry Sloan calls for time. So the good run by Chicago. It's an 11-2 spurt, 7:04 remaining in this first half. The Jazz now up 38-31.
Well, Longley open because all eyes on Jordan. Once again, Jordan draws the crowd. Even the Bulls now getting away with the extra pass, just attacking and attacking.
Jim Gray back at the Delta Center. Jerry Sloan during that timeout told his team, hey guys, you're standing around feeling sorry for yourselves after you've missed shots or not getting a call on offense. If you're not going to get back on defense, we can't win this game. Don't count on them messing up the game. You go out and win the game. Now let's go down to Ahmad Rashad.
All right, thanks, Jim. Phil Jackson not talking anything at all about offense. His subject was defense. That's the way they get back into this game. Mark?
All right, Ahmad, that's exactly what the Bulls have done. A 16-point lead is down to 7. And a 3-second violation is called to give it back to Chicago.
Luke Longley doing a marvelous job jumping around behind and towering over Karl Malone.
And Harper and Stockton got involved. The foul on Stockton for the push. And how things have turned here in the second quarter.
Well, Ron Harper gets so few scoring opportunities, and mainly because it's John Stockton usually sloughing off him, worried about Pippen and Jordan. So it's a good play once in a while to go inside to Ron Harper, who at 6'7", towers over John Stockton.
Substitutions, center switch, Foster out, Ostertag. The biggest problem for Utah is they stopped playing offense. Their defense is always going to be there. They got to get to the point where, hey, we're looking at 110 points per game, and Hugh Evans trying to tell everybody, let's quit the pushing and shoving and let's play basketball.
Evans came over to join Dan Crawford because Stockton and Harper were pushing on the lineup. Jordan to the crossover. Yes. Not bad for a guy playing with flu symptoms.
But give Utah some credit. They forced him left every single time. Jordan's going to score 30 or 40 points. There's no question about that.
And As Malone made his move, he was held. The Bulls in the midst of a 13-2 run.
Well, there's a theory that if you're hurting some or not feeling particularly well, that it heightens your awareness and concentration. You take a little more effort with the minor details, as Michael has been very precise on getting up in the air and shooting those jump shots.
Foul on Longley, substitution. Tony Kukoc sitting down. Dennis Rodman hearing it from the crowds. He checks back in. Here's Stockton. John Stockton has hit 3 of 4. He has 7. It's Utah by 7. We're halfway through the second quarter. Dennis Rodman a little bit more reluctant about taking those outside shots. Pippen able to go glass. Phil Jackson has been upset about the shot selection among other activities of Dennis Rodman.
And why not? Dennis, not a good offensive player by choice. Karl Malone trying to deliver and does.
And claiming that he was hacked by Rodman, did not get the call. The Jazz 42 and the Bulls 35. Malone has 13. Bulls have made their last 6 shots. Here's a mismatch. Hornacek got help. Pippen off the fake, dumped it off. Longley, yes, and it counts.
Oh, nice basketball by Luke Longley. First of all, when it went into Pippen originally, there went Greg Ostertag for the double team. Longley did the right thing, just following in his heels. Pippen couldn't get it to him, so he went away. And then he came back again. And it's for big men cutting to that open area, presenting a big target for that player that is double teamed.
The post-up game for Chicago really strong right now. Their free throw game has absolutely deserted them. But Pippen is scoring in the post. Jordan is passing and scoring in the post. And when big guys move, great things happen.
And Longley continues to have problems at the line. 1 of 4 the other night. Here's Malone with a wild fadeaway. Bad shot by Karl Malone.
Oh, and a worse foul.
That is 3 on Malone.
Things breaking down offensively. Terrible foul by Karl, who needs to play the whole game. He takes a disastrous shot and then comes right in. You're not going to steal that ball. Dennis has great hands and great tipping ability to himself on those rebound attempts.
Clearly a frustration. First of all, shot by Karl Malone. He's taking some wild shots. I don't think I've ever seen one like that.
Jazz over the limit. Dennis Rodman has not scored in 2 games. A reminder, coming up Friday on Dateline, the Rat Pack is back. You can find out how the legacy of Frank and Dino and Sammy and the rest is affecting a new generation of Americans. That's Dateline Friday. Oh, what a follow. Harper thought he was fouled. Dateline Friday, 8 o'clock Eastern, just prior to Game 6 of our NBA Finals Series right here on NBC. And viewers on the West Coast will see Dateline Friday after the Bulls and the Jazz. What once was a 16-point lead is down to 3. Ostertag. Ostertag using the ball off the mismatch.
Well, the Jazz need to keep their poise. They're going to play without Karl Malone the rest of this half. The Bulls are coming back. Shaky play right now for Utah.
4:20 left in the first half. Hornacek trying to shake off Jordan. And now Rodman defending on Karl. Karl wants to take him to the basket. Shot clock at 5. Ostertag. And it's a traveling violation. Basket will not count.
Frustration, disappointment by Karl Malone and Jerry Sloan. Chicago needs a timeout right now. Ostertag has to deliver that ball. Too careless.
Four minutes and 5 seconds to go in this first half here in Salt Lake City, Utah. It is Game 5 of the best-of-7 NBA Finals Series. The series tied at 2. At one point, Utah led by as many as 16. Chicago has come roaring back. They've hit 8 of their last 9 shots. Here's Jordan for 3. Ostertag not able to handle it. And a loose ball foul is called. for the Bulls, their 4th team foul. It's on Rodman. That's his 2nd.
The wild battle for the ball. You look at Ostertag in the middle. They call that a foul? That's terrible. Ahmad just reporting from the Chicago bench that a conversation Jordan and Pippen, questioning Jordan's how he's feeling. He's feeling fine.
And that's, I would say, a relative description. And a foul as Jordan made his cut. Antoine Carr called for the push. Utah over the foul limit. So Michael Jordan spending time at the line here in this first half, in contrast to what took place in Game 4.
I was a little surprised at the Bulls and Michael Jordan coming out of that timeout and settling for the three-point shot on the pick and roll play, because Michael has been taking the ball in the basket, drawing some fouls. The officials are used to seeing that, and of course you got the Jazz in the penalty, put the pressure on them.
Michael Jordan, his percentage of the points during the season, coming up and in the finals, having to carry that load, and along with Scottie Pippen, really the only 2 guys who can say that they've been doing it.
Well, Bill, in particular, with the way Chicago's offense has dipped as the finals have progressed, as the playoffs have progressed. And Jordan with 12 of his 16 points here in the second quarter. It's down to a 3-point Jazz lead. And the steal by Jordan. Putting behind the back on Russell. He turned it around and fed it to Pippen. And tipped home by Jordan. What a play by Michael Jordan.
Well, Chicago is in that mode now. Any mistake made by Utah, long rebound, steal, they are getting out and flying.
Utah's lead is down to 1. They led by as many as 16. Shot clock at 6. Foster off the double team. Bad shot. Fired it up. And the Bulls actually have a chance to take the lead. They're in the midst of a 23-8 run. Jordan putting moves on and a foul. Foul on Stockton, who was trying to draw the charge.
Well, John Stockton out of control. Passing on the move right into the hands of Michael Jordan, with Scottie Pippen filling the lane for the nice finish, and Jordan not taking anything for granted, finishing off. Stockton in all kinds of trouble, tries the Dennis Rodman flop, doesn't get the whistle there. Jordan to the line.
Michael Jordan with 19 points in all. 15 have come in the second quarter. Utah at one point led 36-20, 3 minutes into the second. And the Chicago Bulls have taken a 1-point lead with 2.5 left in the first half. And the Utah Jazz also suffering with Karl Malone on the bench after picking up a 3rd foul. Here's Morris for 3.
Everything going wrong for Utah. No leadership, horrible turnovers, no offense, and absolutely non-existent defense.
Ostertag guarding Pippen on the switch. Pippen goes right to the basket, and the tip missed by Williams. He's Stockton checking the floor as he brought it down in deliberate fashion and then decided to reset.
Stockton's got to take over here. Without Antoine Carr, without Karl Malone, he's got to be the offense.
Sets it up for Morris for 3. Chris Morris off the bench for 8. The Jazz 47, the Bulls 45. Out, but he lost it. Power off the steal. And last touched by Utah.
Utah is not taking care of the ball in the defensive end on the few times they do get it.
Oh, look at Phil Jackson in the face of Brian Williams. He just called a 22nd timeout, and Phil very upset.
John Stockton, when things were falling apart, looked to take it on himself to get guys open, but when Scottie Pippen collapsed, that frees up Scottie's man, Chris Morris. Nothing but net on this three. Chris Morris, ecstatic. He should worry about getting back on defense and getting a rebound.
Chris Morris has spent 7 tumultuous years as a member of the New Jersey Nets. It's his second season with Utah. Averaged 10 points a game last season, but had his ups and downs and some disagreements with Jerry Sloan this season. At one point, he was actually escorted off the bench by security guards after Sloan was upset with him. That was earlier in the year. Here's Kukoc with the alley-oop intended for Jordan. Stockton running the floor. Nowhere to go. Able to dish it to Russell. Pippen with the rebound. 1 minute to go in the first half. Kukoc for 3. Yes. Tony Kukoc. And the Chicago Bulls lead by 1.
This is the best the Bulls have looked in a long time. Aggressive, great attacking defense. Kukoc stroking threes and then pounding the glass.
45 seconds remaining in the first half. Foster. And a tip by Ostertag.
A very ill-advised shot by Greg Foster, bailed out by the terrific play of Ostertag.
Utah by 1. Good half for Ostertag. He has 9 points. Jordan putting moves on Russell and pushed.
Well, the Chicago Bulls are in a 2-for-1 situation. Michael Jordan, knowing the Jazz in the penalty, just dropping his head and going. No body by Brian Williams on Ostertag. No way he could. It was Ostertag having the big body between the basket and Brian Williams, as Ostertag has done a good job of following things in and around the basket.
How about the Bulls going to the line now? Following these free throws by Jordan, it'll be 22 trips to the line, only 12 in all of Game 4. And Michael Jordan, 8 of 8 at the line. Scottie Pippen getting a rest. Pippen sitting down with 8 points.
And it must be said, Michael Jordan is not feeling as obvious on his face yet, playing brilliantly.
And a loose ball foul against the Bulls, so that is number 5. They now are over the limit. It's on Williams.
Marv, you talked about the Bulls getting to the line. Michael missing the second one. Can't believe I got that guy on my team fouling people. But the Bulls are the best team in basketball at identifying what they didn't do in the last game and coming right back and changing that. They've done that tonight by getting to the line, by posting up their Pippins and Jordans. Phil Jackson, just a brilliant coach.
Well, Greg Foster, a one-time member of the Chicago Bulls, who had the best all-around game of his NBA career. Game 3 on Friday night. That's Adam Keefe, 5-year man from Stanford, who's been spotted during the course of this series. There's Foster, you see, regular season average about 3.5 per game, 11 minutes per game. Started to get playing time, though, in the Western Finals and in the NBA Finals, playing about 19 minutes a game against the Bulls. By 2, 20 seconds remaining in this first half, and Chicago will hold for a final shot of the hand. Jordan played by Russell. Here's Jordan putting the move on. Jordan did not hit. Final second. Here comes Russell, chased by Pippen. 1 minute 10 seconds remaining. Pippen couldn't make the cash, now recovers and fires, and that is the end of the first half. Karl Malone, 13 points on 6 of 10 shooting, but he committed 3 fouls. You saw the numbers on Jordan, leads the way with 21. So at the half, the Jazz by 4 will be joining Hannah Storm for the Prudential halftime report right after these messages.
Ahmad Rashad back at the Delta Center. A little update on Michael Jordan as he walked by me coming out to warm up for the second half. I asked him how he felt, and it was the first time I had seen a smile on his face, but the smile was looking back at me like, are you kidding? I am really sick. I asked Chip Shaver, the trainer. He said he's exhausted, totally dehydrated, and a little bit out of it. Let's go down to Jim Gray.
All right, thanks, Ahmad. Well, I'm told by the Jazz players that Jerry Sloan really threw a tirade at halftime, screaming at them, unhappy that they were up 16 and then lost the lead. Said we need more defense, transition, keep them off the boards. Says we match the aggression and intensity of Pippen and Jordan. That's why they're going to the foul line. Final thing he told them, guys, 18 deflections in the first quarter, only 2 deflections on defense in the second quarter. Marv?
All right, thanks, guys. As you saw, Scottie Pippen able to open up the third quarter to bring the Bulls within 2. Shot clock at 5. Russell lost it. And Jordan with Pippen the trailer. Poster tag on the box out with rebound number 9.
Shaky fast break by Michael. The Bulls there actually rearranged his shot while in the air. It was the fast break of Chicago, which was so good in the second quarter.
And Brian Russell able to knock down a 3. Then very effective from the perimeter. 5 points for Russell. The Jazz 56 and the Bulls 51. We're just underway in the third quarter. Longley got the steps. Strong move by Luke Longley.
Luke Longley just in too deep. He's got a good left hand. Ostertag cannot relax. He's done that a number of times.
Utah by 3. Malone with Russell. Ostertag up front. Here's Malone getting inside. Karl Malone with 15.
Marv, in the first half, a lot of great numbers for Utah. Turnovers and fouls killed them, but Karl Malone has got to stay in that game.
Malone picked up a third foul and sat out a good portion of the second quarter. Shot clock down to 5. Pippen, played by Hornacek. Yes. Scottie Pippen has 12. The Jazz up by 3.
Michael Jordan staying on the periphery now in the opening minutes. Remember, in Game 4, 0 for 4 for Jordan in the third quarter. Only 2 points in the third quarter of Game 3. So this is when whatever altitude, fatigue, whatever has gotten to Michael.
And Dennis Rodman continues to have his problems with Karl Malone. That was foul number 3 on Rodman.
Jordan turns in, misses that turnaround jumper. Says, my fault, my fault. A lot of walking, standing, leaning over. Saying, will somebody please make a shot so I can feel better later.
Question with Jordan, particularly if this is another game that goes down the stretch, will be his stamina when you consider the flu-like conditions. Malone, Ostertag. Ostertag was able to get inside and once again rescued the rebound. He's been controlling the boards. 11 rebounds for Greg Ostertag. Hornacek, yes.
Well, Dennis Rodman needed help with Malone. Jordan sensed it and gambled, leaving Hornacek alone, and the gamble did not pay off.
But Utah's standing. They're not cutting. They're not setting the screens, and Harper's doing a much better job on John Stockton in the third here.
Oh, the tip by Longley. And Luke Longley is 4 of 4 from the field. He has 18 points. And one stretch in the first half, Utah led by as many as 16. They had a 14-1 spurt in the first quarter. Chicago came roaring back with a 25-8 run in the second. Rebounded by Pippen. Oh, the crowd looking for the traveling violation.
Not even close to traveling.
And Pippen goes all the way. Rebounded by Malone and hands right to stop.